My name is Gerhard Schmidt. I'm Professor for Information Architecture here at ETH Zurich in the Department of Architecture, and I'm the founding director of the Singapore ETH Center in Singapore. More than half of the human race now lives in cities or urbanized areas, but we really do not understand very much what a city is. So we're trying to use the help of images, of pictures. We talk about the heart of a city. Sometimes we talk about smartness of a city or intelligence of a city. A smart city is the connection between ICT, between the social capital of a city and the built environment of a city. There are a lot of challenges because in the next 40 years we have to build as much around the world as we did build in the last 4,000 years. So the increase of the urban population is very, very rapid. And that brings all kinds of problems with it, all kinds of advantages, of course, as well. If you look at the transportation issue, which every city has, or at the water issue, or at the pollution issue, we can try to fix these problems somehow on the surface, but that will not help very much. If we go one step back and look at the reasons why we have these transportation issues, or pollution issues, or water issues, often we come to planning. We come to understanding or lack of understanding how a city works. The software intervention is a very smart thing to do. If you look at the house, you have maybe an old house which has been standing there for hundreds of years, but it's not very comfortable. By putting in software, sensors, guidance systems into the house, you can make it much more comfortable. You can also make it much less energy consuming, and you can give it more resilience in the long term. So the combination of hardware and software is a very smart thing to do for the building, but also for the city and for whole countries. In a city, for example, if you have the software of a traffic system or traffic control system, you combine that with the fixed infrastructure of the streets, you can do something like road pricing, dynamic road pricing, and that will increase the throughput of the streets, it will reduce the traffic problems. So you have a very smart combination of software intervention into a hardware system of infrastructure. So always we have the combination of software, IT, and existing hardware, power lines, garbage disposal, and so on. Waste as capital is a sentence which sounds very strange because it combines two things that seem not to have anything to do with each other. But in fact, it's a very old principle. As a matter of fact, there is actually no waste. Waste is just a product in a large life circle. And if you look at the entire life cycle, then there is no waste because it's just the output of one process which becomes the input of another process. And only if you reduce your view or your perspective extremely much and look at only one process, yes, then you would have waste. But if you look at the city as a whole, a building as a whole, society as a whole, then the so-called waste is output and it is at the same time input for the next project. With high-tech means, of course, we can reuse many materials, glass reuse, PET bottles reuse, you know all of those. But we can get much smarter in the reuse and much smarter in the recycling. So in the long run, there will be no waste. A very particular aspect of understanding a city is the so-called stocks and flows system. We have to look at the particular stocks and flows of material in and out of a city, of water in and out of a city, of energy in and out of a city, of people, of finances and of information. And if we understand these stocks and flows better, then we can make a city more sustainable. And then we can make a city more resilient. Resilient meaning that if a catastrophe or something bad happens from the outside or from the inside, the city can work on it and emerge in a stronger way than before. So that is a real true sign of resilience. And many cities in the past that were one-dimensionally or just built for one particular purpose, for production, for industry, or in ancient times for agriculture, did not survive because they didn't have this resilience. They couldn't go back a step, gather their forces, gather their intellectual properties, gather their knowledge, decide on the future, plan for the future, and come out of this bad situation in order to make a better and more resilient city. So this is what we try to achieve with all city planning in the future, to make it more sustainable and more resilient.